Philip runs along a train track, warning his friend, Ethan. The rumbling of an approaching train grows louder. Ahead of Ethan, a boy named Baron is tied to the tracks. Ethan tries to untie the ropes. His hands tremble, and sweat pours from his forehead as time runs out. The train horn blares. Baron looks at Ethan with pleading eyes. Ethan's efforts are unsuccessful. The train speeds by. In that instant, everything changed. This is Baron's Cove. The scene shifts to a daytime construction site. Caleb is a middle-aged deliverman with a stern expression, exiting a building materials truck. However, the contractor at the site looks uneasy when Caleb begins his inspection. Caleb works for a building supply store managed by Benji, a local mafia boss and Caleb's uncle. All local construction projects must buy materials from Benji's business. Violating this rule results in violence against any contractor who resists. The contractor Caleb inspects is caught buying materials from another supplier. In a panic, he tries to bribe Caleb to falsify the report and keep it from Benji. Caleb reluctantly accepts the bribe. Caleb arrives at the headquarters and lies to Benji about the inspection. The lie does not last long. Benji asks for details, and Caleb cannot create a consistent story. The truth is revealed. An enraged Benji orders Caleb to go back to the site and teach the contractor a lesson. Caleb tries to refuse, saying he promised to take his son to the park. Benji dismisses the excuse, saying only Caleb can deliver the right message to the contractor. At the same time, at a government building, Senator Lyle introduces Captain Albert as the new police chief. Lyle claims this appointment will improve security. In reality, the decision is pure nepotism because Albert is Lyle's old friend. This relationship will give Lyle control over local law enforcement. The day continues, and it is now late evening when Caleb finishes work. He is late to pick up Baron for their trip to the park. He arrives at his ex-wife Jackie's house and finds Baron isn't there. Jackie thought Baron had been with Caleb since that afternoon. Panic sets in for both parents. They call Baron's school and friends, but no one knows where the boy is. Their worry turns to horror when they hear news of a train accident involving a child. Caleb and Jackie rush to the scene. The police have set up a perimeter around the train tracks. Detective Navarro, a new investigator in the city, is leading the investigation. However, the train's high speed left the victim's body in a condition that is difficult to identify. At the police station, Caleb tries to convince himself the body is not Baron.
It's not him! It's not him! It's not my boy!
A 10-year-old would not be playing on dangerous train tracks. But the police show them a piece of the victim's clothing. Jackie recognizes the shirt Baron wore to school that morning, and tears stream down her face. Jackie blames Caleb for the tragedy. She says Caleb should have picked Baron up from school instead of letting him go home alone. Guilt haunts Caleb, especially when a police officer speculates that one of Caleb's business rivals may have killed Baron. Everyone knows Caleb works for a criminal organization. Caleb denies the accusation. He is sure no one holds a grudge against him. At the end of the interrogation, Detective Navarro gives him important information. The last person to see Baron was when he got off the school bus with two friends, Ethan and Philip. The police question Baron's two friends that same day. A desperate Caleb tries to approach Ethan to ask what happened to his son. But Ethan is cold and acts as if he feels no guilt. He hides behind his father, who is Senator Lyle. Caleb thinks Ethan's attitude is a hallucination. It seems impossible for a 10-year-old to act that way when a classmate dies. But the strangeness bothers him, and Caleb becomes convinced that something is being hidden. The next day, after Baron's funeral, Caleb confronts Benji. He asks for access to Ethan's interrogation results. Benji has police connections and can get the information. However, because the case involves an official's child, they have to be careful. Meanwhile, Detective Navarro is still investigating Baron's death. That afternoon, Captain Albert makes a surprising decision. He concludes the cause of Baron's death and says the case will be closed soon. Navarro disagrees and chooses to find the truth on his own. Navarro goes to the funeral home and asks Caleb about Baron's daily life. He asks if Baron was a cheerful child or often depressed. The question raises Caleb's suspicions. Suddenly, the news reports that the police concluded Baron's death was a result of him doing the unthinkable. A few days later, Lyle holds a political campaign event with Ethan. When a citizen tries to greet Ethan, the boy responds in an unfriendly way. His attitude contrasts with Lyle's image as a loving father. When he has an opportunity, Caleb approaches Ethan and asks about Baron's death. Ethan again hides behind his father. The police guarding the event chase Caleb away, which makes him more frustrated. Caleb does not give up. One witness remains, Philip. Caleb goes to Philip's house, but no one answers. Impatient, Caleb breaks into the boy's room through a window to look for evidence. In Philip's room, Caleb finds a surprising picture showing the moment of Barron's death. Caleb takes the evidence to Benji, hoping his uncle will agree with him. Caleb is also confused about what Ethan told the police to make them conclude Barron did the unthinkable. Despite Caleb's urging, Benji's decision is final. His main reason is fear of getting involved with officials, which could damage his business. Caleb is disappointed. Barron's death is not unrelated to Benji's overworking him. If Benji had not forced him to work that night, the tragedy might not have happened.
I'm the reason you can provide for your family. I'm the only reason that Barron ever had a chance. And I'm not gonna let you piss it all away.
When the situation escalates, Benji reminds Caleb of his subordinate position. Caleb realizes he cannot rely on anyone to find his son's killer. In the past few days, Caleb's world has fallen apart. Every time he hears a passing train, he imagines how Barron died. The trauma makes it difficult for him to sleep and he loses his appetite. Meanwhile, Ethan, free from accusations, acts up again. This time, he secretly puts dozens of ants in a classmate's bag. The next day, Caleb visits Ethan at school. Ethan feels no guilt and provokes Caleb by saying Barron did the unthinkable. He uses his young age to manipulate the situation.
I can tell you his last words. I'd rather get hit by a train than spend 1 more second with my dad.
Tell me what you did to him.
What is going on?
As soon as he gets a chance, Ethan runs away. A chase begins, attracting a lot of attention. A car hits Ethan, and he loses consciousness. Caleb takes this opportunity and kidnaps him. After driving for a long time, they arrive at a remote villa. When they get out of the car, Ethan tries to fight back. Caleb anticipates this and locks the boy in a room for interrogation. Even though he is cornered, Ethan still refuses to say what happened to Barron. His stubborn attitude makes Caleb momentarily lose control. The news of Ethan's kidnapping has spread. Lyle prepares to hold a press conference. Before he goes on stage, Captain Albert warns Lyle to only make agreed-upon statements. Lyle breaks the agreement. He successfully gains public sympathy and announces a $100,000 reward for finding Ethan. The police could easily find Caleb if Lyle allowed them to ask higher-ranking officials for help. However, Lyle forbids the case from reaching the governor's office. Lyle wants to hide something. Despite his anger, Caleb feels pity for Ethan and provides him dinner. Caleb tries to persuade the boy to tell the truth. Ethan feels he has the upper hand and challenges Caleb to hurt him. That night, Caleb goes to his old acquaintance Felix to borrow tools. The location is a bit far from the villa, but Felix has the tools needed to make Ethan talk. The next day, Detective Navarro returns to Jackie's residence. Navarro is still curious about Barron's death. He found a photo of a cheerful Barron and believes it's unlikely the boy did the unthinkable. Navarro hopes Jackie will help by telling him where Caleb is. Jackie is disappointed with the police's performance and refuses to help. She feels the police are not serious about handling Barron's death. The next morning, Caleb takes Ethan to the basement. He gives the boy one last chance to tell the truth. Instead of talking, Ethan challenges him back. Caleb shows him some tools, but Ethan remains silent.
You won't hurt me. I know you won't.
Caleb cannot bring himself to hurt a child, especially since he is unsure if the boy is guilty. His heart is broken, and he does not know how to make Ethan tell the truth. Caleb even plans to send Ethan home. Strangely, the boy says he would rather stay with Caleb than go home.
I'll take you back! Just tell me, and I'll take you home. Please!
I don't want to go home.
This shocking statement makes Caleb curious about Ethan's family. Meanwhile, Benji is furious after finding out Caleb kidnapped an official's child. The mafia boss worries his business will be affected. Benji sends his men to find Caleb. They quickly find the villa where Caleb is hiding. They do not attack that night. Benji has a cunning plan to handle this problem without a trace leading back to him. Ethan finally admits he feels guilty for not saving Barron. He was actually trying to save his friend but was afraid to tell his story because he feared his father. Elsewhere, Lyle is on his yacht when his father, the governor, arrives. The governor's visit is not about his grandson. He warns Lyle that this problem must not affect their votes in the upcoming election. It is revealed that Ethan is an adopted child Lyle took in when he was 6. Lyle is desperate to find Caleb. His phone rings. It is Benji, who gives him Caleb's location. At the same time, Caleb begins to believe Ethan's story. The boy has often lied, so Caleb is hesitant. That night, Caleb stops locking Ethan up. The next morning, the boy will be returned home. But when Ethan changes clothes, Caleb starts to believe him. There are many bruises on Ethan's body, which indicate systematic violence. After changing clothes, Ethan sleeps in the room. Caleb stays up in the living room, watching television. A few hours later, 3 mercenaries sneak into the house. They have come to kill Caleb. His death must look like a fire. The gas pipes in the house have been sabotaged. To trigger an explosion, they have 2 bombs. The intruders move silently. They go directly to the master bedroom to find Ethan. Caleb defeats one of them. He takes Ethan and escapes through a window. It looks like a rescue mission, but the mercenaries shoot at Ethan as if the boy is their main target. Their carelessness causes a bomb to explode early. While escaping, Ethan mutters that his father tried to kill him. A hail of bullets injures Ethan, and he loses consciousness. The next morning, Lyle meets with Benji to discuss the failed mission. Benji had agreed to kill Caleb for a profitable business contract, but the mission's failure annoys Lyle. He almost breaks his promise. Since he has no one else to ask, Caleb goes to his friend Felix's workshop. Coincidentally, Felix has medical experience. After an examination, Ethan's injuries are not as bad as Caleb feared. At the same time, the police investigate the explosion from the night before. Captain Albert is angry because Detective Navarro was careless in checking Caleb's property list. Had he been more thorough, the location could have been found sooner. Caleb falls asleep for a while from exhaustion. When he wakes up, Felix gives him a bag and car keys. Caleb must escape immediately because the police will arrive soon. Felix doesn't ask much about Caleb's problems. He is proud that Ethan has not stopped saying Caleb saved him. Felix believes Ethan's stories because the wounds on the boy's body show he experienced violence from those closest to him. Ethan clearly needs help and protection. So far, Ethan hasn't told the timeline of Baron's death because he fears for his life. He is willing to talk, but only if Caleb takes him to a specific place. At the same time, the police re-interrogate Jackie and try to persuade her to cooperate. Detective Navarro fails to convince her, so Lyle steps in. Lyle is a skilled liar. He fabricates a story that he is worried about Ethan's condition and is almost going crazy. As a mother, Jackie feels sorry for him. Detective Navarro is annoyed because Captain Albert allows Lyle to enter the interrogation room, which violates procedure. Because he argues, Navarro is removed from the case. Caleb finally takes Ethan to the aquarium, which used to be Baron's favorite place. After walking around, Ethan talks about his past. When newly adopted, he collected loose change. Day by day, the coins accumulated. Lyle accused him of being a thief and beat him until he lost consciousness. 4 years, Ethan hid the violence. Last week, Baron was at his house and witnessed the abuse. A panicked Lyle then takes both children to the edge of town. That is where the tragedy happens. Ethan tried to tell Captain Albert about the incident, but his testimony was changed. Ethan realizes everyone works for his adoptive father. To hide from the police, Caleb takes Ethan to a small motel. In the middle of the night, Caleb calls Jackie for help. He feels sorry for Ethan and plans to entrust him to Jackie's family. Without Caleb's knowledge, Jackie has already agreed to cooperate with the police. The motel manager also reports Caleb to the police after seeing the news. Luckily, only Detective Navarro receives the report, so he goes to the location without backup. Initially, Jackie wants to betray Caleb because she thinks he kidnapped Ethan for revenge. After hearing his sincere intentions on the phone, Jackie warns Caleb not to come to their meeting place.
Caleb, I'm so sorry. Don't go.
During the pursuit, Detective Navarro runs into Ethan and asks where Caleb is. Ethan uses this opportunity to trick the detective, so they can escape. Since he has nowhere else to hide, Caleb decides to go back to Benji for help. This is a trap, and Caleb does not know it. Even after hearing the story of Baron's death, Benji still sides with Lyle. Benji promises to help Caleb hide Ethan in a neighboring country. Ethan begs Caleb to come with him. He is afraid of being left alone. Caleb tries to explain he cannot be with Ethan forever. The person who takes care of him must have a clean past, unlike Caleb, who has committed murder. It is revealed that Caleb had a childhood similar to Ethan's. When he grew up, Caleb got revenge by drowning his own father in a river. Only Benji knows this. Once preparations are complete, Caleb goes to a back room. This is supposed to be the moment of farewell between him and Ethan. But Caleb is attacked from behind and beaten.
Thank you, Benj.
Yeah, well, don't thank me just yet.
Benji takes out his frustration on him. Benji did intend to help his nephew initially. As proof, Benji obtained Philip's interrogation recording. Strangely, Philip says Ethan killed Baron. He says Ethan tied Baron to the train tracks and choked Baron until he was unconscious. The truth is revealed. Ethan has been lying all this time and using Caleb to escape from his father. After watching the recording, Caleb is heartbroken and almost kills Ethan on the spot.
Sorry, Caleb!
Stop fighting, Caleb.
After being lied to by a child, Caleb is also beaten up by Benji. Generally, Benji does not hesitate to kill his victims. But because they are family, Benji orders Caleb to never set foot in the city again. If he violates the order, his life will be over. When he wakes up, Ethan is at the hospital. Lyle is relieved the boy did not expose his wickedness. Although Ethan lied about Baron's death, the wounds on his body are real evidence of his father's abuse. As soon as he is released from the hospital, Lyle invites Ethan to a Thanksgiving party. Benji is also invited as a sign of gratitude for his help. After being beaten, Caleb's condition is dire. His heart is shattered by Ethan's betrayal. That morning at a restaurant, Caleb cries and feels hopeless about finding justice. By chance, the bathroom is full of fish paintings that remind Caleb of Baron. At that moment, Caleb gets up to seek revenge. He escapes from the restaurant. The thugs sent to watch him do not report the incident to Benji because they are afraid. Meanwhile, Benji realizes something is wrong when he sees Caleb at the event. For safety, Benji immediately warns Lyle about Caleb's presence. They both flee in a panic. Lyle tells his driver to go to the dock where his yacht is. However, Caleb is already waiting there. He does not want to kill Lyle, he wants revenge for his son's death. The only thing Caleb wants is Ethan. If Lyle wants to survive, he must give up his adopted son. Normally, parents protect their children, but Lyle does not. Lyle gladly gives up Ethan.
Please! Please! No! Please, I'm sorry!
Just shoot
No! Please!
Enough, detective.
A moment before Caleb can take action, Detective Navarro appears. Caleb secretly asks the detective to expose the violence Ethan has experienced. Even caught, Lyle does not give up, and a shootout starts. In the chaos, Lyle falls into the sea. Caleb cannot swim and almost drowns. Detective Navarro immediately saves him. When he wakes up, Caleb is in a hospital. Why did Caleb save his son's killer? Before they parted ways, Felix told Caleb that revenge does not always bring peace. If Caleb had killed Ethan, he might have lived with regret. Ethan is a child with a mental disorder from repeated abuse. His biological mother is a drug user. Lack of affection and attention caused Ethan to commit violent acts that victimized others. Caleb tries to show the boy the right path. He hopes this action will make him proud when he meets Baron. In the end, Caleb is detained for kidnapping Ethan. The boy will reportedly be taken to a rehabilitation facility. The police have not found Benji, even though he was involved in the crime. On the way to the police station, the vehicle Caleb is in stops in a narrow alley. The two police officers escorting him suddenly leave. Soon, two unknown people appear, intending to kill him. There are two possibilities. They could be sent by Captain Albert or from Benji's mafia group. The point is, if this case continues, many important people will be involved. Caleb must be killed to close the case. Caleb has surrendered to his fate. He can't wait to meet Baron again. So the moral of the story is, if you're going to be a bad guy, at least have a consistent alibi and don't get sidetracked by a kid's drama.